Hi class, in this video, I'm going to show you sort of an introduction to how to use MyLab Math, and I will walk through some of the homework assignments, and I will try to stay up to date on these. Just be patient. So if you get too far ahead, you'll be way ahead of where I'm at with videos, but that's fine. There's plenty of help along the way as we work through these. So first thing, I just want to remind you the two ways that you can access Pearson. And I see that some of you have already enrolled. Remember, the free access code is posted in the first announcement right here. It's this right here. If you click on the announcement, you can see this code. Copy it. As soon as you try to open any assignment, it'll try to get you to pay. Please do not pay. This course is 100% free. They're letting us use it for free for this semester, which is nice. So use this access code. It'll last the whole semester. It's awesome. So two ways. Now, what I've seen having taught on Pearson for many years is most students go to assignments or modules, whatever, and they click on the homework. So I'm just going to show you the difference. Click on the homework. It's a little slow, sorry. Click Open Pearson. Now, what happens is it takes you to your homework, but that's all you can work on. Okay, so you cannot access all the other stuff that comes with Pearson when you do this way. And I don't recommend getting to the habit of this because you're only able to work on these questions. You see how there's nothing else here that you can click on in Pearson? You can only do the homework questions. Now, instead of clicking on the actual homework assignment, if you take this other step, access Pearson, this will still take you to Pearson. Okay, so click Open Pearson again. Just remember, the first time you guys click this button, wherever it went, it's going to ask you to pay. Do not pay. Copy and paste that access code on the left side of your screen over here. It'll say access code. Okay, so what we do is we go here, open MyLab Mastering, and this allows you to access all parts of the course. Okay. Now, when I'm over here from Access Pearson, I can do all sorts of things. There's the ebook here. There's video resources that you can watch videos for all the topics. If you don't like mine, I hope you like these. I put some time into them. And StatCrunch is going to be a huge one. Okay, so it's nice to have this. Yours will look slightly different than mine because I'm the instructor, but we love Pearson. It's extremely likely. Thanks. So anyways, this is the best way. You can also see your grade in here. You'll see a different grade in Canvas. If you're unsure which grade's more accurate, just ask me. They both should be pretty close though to your right grade. Anyways, so then once you're in Pearson, you go to assignments and you'll see, now I'm gonna have a lot more assignments than you see right now, or maybe I don't, but you should see these available, right? They'll have due dates. You guys have unlimited attempts on every homework, so that's awesome. And try to get hundreds on all of them. Okay. So in terms of the ebook, when you purchase, well, we don't purchase it, so you guys get the book, the ebook for free. You just click on the e-textbook contents, and we're in chapter 1, so you can click chapter 1 or just click open my e-textbook, and this is your book. Okay, so you guys are getting a free textbook, which is awesome. Go, let's open. It's a little slow, apologies. I know we're not very patient, but sometimes it's going to take a little bit. It's not even my internet. My internet's fine. It's just a little slow getting to this book. Pearson. Okay, so let's see. We could pick a topic, or we should just open the e-textbook. I don't want to go through all this stuff. I want to see just the actual book. Okay, so open e-textbook. Right, it's easier to navigate. You can kind of read through it. So this is one sort of study strategy. Besides watching these videos, as you work through the homeworks, maybe refer to the book that has an AI-powered study tool. Your guess is as good as mine what that is, but you can ask it questions, okay, for explanations. Get test ready. So yeah, let me know if you guys try that. It's probably good. So yeah, this is the book we're using. Sorry. This is where you click table of contents. So this is sort of what will get you to, oh, it's supposed to. This should take us to the chapters. Why is it not doing that? There we go. Very wonky today. So we're in chapter 1. So if you're in chapter 1 working on homework, open the e-textbook, click the table of contents, click chapter 1, and read through it as you see fit. Okay. For a stats course, I typically don't like to teach out of the book. I think it's much, much better to see by example. Okay. So, and the course comes with a lot of help. So as you're working through these problems, a lot of them will have help buttons, and I'll show you what those look like. Okay. But this is how you get to the ebook. So that should help a little bit. We're going to use StatCrunch a lot. Essentially, it looks a lot like Excel, but it has all sorts of calculators built into it. It's our best friend in this course. So the more acclimated you get using StatCrunch, the easier the course will be. Study plan is useful, but we probably won't use that too much except if it's near a test. Typically, if I make a test, it will have a study plan that comes with it, which is like a review. But I find it's much easier to just make a review. So we won't really use study plan. Video and resource library. So this has you can have tutorial videos, test prep videos, how to use StatCrunch, videos just in general. So for instance, let's say we're gonna do like at least a video on 1.3 today. Chapter 1. Okay, chapter 1, data collection. And we can pick section 1.3, simple random sampling. We're gonna select all of these. Notice there are PowerPoints. Where are the PowerPoints? They don't show them. Huh. Study slides are probably the PowerPoints. Okay. Fine now, right? And I have test prep videos here, right? They're about 3 minutes long, some are a minute. Study slides, textbook, multimedia, and then some videos, okay? So these videos will help you, you know, learn the topic. So for instance, if we click study slides, this should be a PowerPoint. I'm hoping this is. It used to just say PowerPoint slides. I guess it changed. Yep, it's a PowerPoint. So you see it downloaded here as a PowerPoint. I'm going to click it. And, again, I could teach from these. They're nice, but I sort of have my own style, and I don't find it necessary to bombard you with a lot of stuff that you're not going to really use or be tested on. So there's 128 slides here. Okay. You can use these as sort of a guide. But I do expect you guys to get stuck at times. And when that happens, email me or let's meet in Zoom and get you unstuck. Okay. So again, these are just options. These are alternative resources. My guess is for how most of you will proceed with this course is you're just going to watch my videos, hopefully see if I say anything useful, which I will, and then you're going to work on the homework. So let me walk you into what it looks like doing homework assignment in MyLab Math. Since we're doing a stats course, if you've taken math courses before, they use MyLab Math a lot as well. Stats is a little different because of this StatCrunch. Sorry for that noise. My washing machine. It's alerting me that it needs more water. Anyways, let's say, this one's due the 27th. I can extend these, by the way, but let's say you just have to get this done. So you didn't have time to go through the slides. You're just in the homework assignment. You click on a homework question. We'll start with number 1. It's just going to ask us stuff that's straight from the book. So I don't want you guys to be like, where are these problems coming from? These are coming from the book, right? The stats book. So this is from 1.1. So presumably, let's see if I still have the stats book open somewhere. So many tabs. Let's see. So if I wanted to know the answer to this question, let's say, and I'm doing this intentionally, right? You're like, well, how would we know this? Who's teaching us? For some of the stuff, you guys can kind of learn on your own. Okay, so this is saying select the correct choices that complete the sentences. Blank is a numerical summary of a variable. Okay, that's clearly, these are all clearly asking definitions. So if we wanted to know what is the numerical summary of the sample, well, we're in 1.1 in the book. Let's go to the next page. We're just being asked definitions, right? This is not really calculation, and almost all the course is calculation. So we're not really a definition heavy course. So statistics is the science. Did this ask us if it was science? No, it's numerical summary. What's a numerical summary? Okay. Data. Data can be numerical. Okay. So we're still looking though. Let's see. Page 5. So, it's a little annoying having to use an ebook at times, but whatever. Once we find this, it's going to feel good. Okay, this is population. A sample is a subset of the population that's being studied. So we could use that. You saw that there were several definitions being asked. Does one of them say a subset of the population that is being studied? Let's see. Subset. Oop. Subset of a group of individuals. So this should be that, right? This is the subset. Slightly changed, but it's a subset of the population. So this one should be sample, right? Subset is a sample. Boom, sample. We got what? Now you might guess, and that's fine. I know how you guys work. You do have unlimited attempts, but I do not recommend just guessing and then changing it. Some of you guys are just lazy. I get it, but try to actually get these right on the first try. Okay, blank is a person or object. So we just keep going through. The entire group to be studied is called the population. So let's match that. Entire group to be studied. Boom, population. So there's not really much to teach here, right? This is straight from the book. Individual is a person that is a member of the population. So individual, member, individual. Okay, so this would be individual. Right, and you just go through them accordingly. Okay. All right. So this is the first two sections. Honestly, they're mostly definitions. I get that it's going to be confusing because you haven't calculated anything yet. Again, a certain zoo found that 8% of it's not asking you to calculate like what's 8% of 843. Most of the course we will be calculating that. We'd say, okay, if it's 8%, what number is that? What total does that give us? This is just asking what's that definition? Is it statistic or a parameter? Okay. So again, these come straight from the definitions. And so some of the stuff like parameters, numerical study, summary of a population. Okay. So again, I will spend more time once we're actually calculating this. So, but what I want to show you is that there's help examples in here. So let's say you got to this question 4. How do you do this? You don't really know. You don't, the number one thing is you don't have to go to the book. And that's how I expect most of you guys to learn. If you click on get more help, you do see the option to open the textbook. If you click this, opens the textbook. If you click StatCrunch, it'll open StatCrunch. But you'll know when you can use StatCrunch because it'll be a little button. I'll show you that later. What we want to do, we have these two options here. So I want to show you what the difference is between these two. So there is a major difference. There's a couple. Okay. Let's start with view an example. Okay, so we're working on this homework problem, question 4. This view an example will help us figure out how to do this one. But view an example will not show you how to solve this exact problem. It's only going to show you how to solve a similar one. So it'll change it slightly. So let's click it. View an example. It always tells you how many steps there are. So this has 3 steps. Be prepared, some will have many steps, like 28. Okay. You still should use the help because it's going to help you. And like I said, this is how I guess a lot of people are learning is You don't really need the book anymore. You can just figure out how to do problem by problem. So this is saying, okay, well, the average gas pumped for 20 of a station's 200 customers was this number. Does that look like ours? Let's see. Not really. So already you're seeing when you click view an example, it might not be as helpful because you're going to have to connect. How does this one relate? The problem that we were given has two numbers. This one has three. That's going to make it harder to follow, right? So you try to follow it. So it's also a wordy explanation. Unfortunately, some of them are. But if you take the time to read this, you might be able to make sense of it. You might not, and that's fine. If you can't understand what the help is saying, let me know. So a population is a collection of all outcomes. A sample is a subset. And what a subset means is it's a group from the population. So you take a certain collection from the entire population. So like I use the nets as an example. So if my population was the New Jersey Net or the Brooklyn Nets, a sample would be some of players from that, right? So I take three guys from the Nets. That's my sample. The population is the Nets. Okay. But again, this explanation is a little wordy. So therefore, the data set of 20 customers is a sample. A lot of you guys are just looking for this last punchline, right? What's the conclusion? What's the answer? Okay. Now, let me show you what Help Me Solve This does. Help Me Solve This. Now, be careful because what I should tell you is as soon as you click Help Me Solve This, it's going to reset the problem. Okay, so the problem we see right now, right? Once we click Help Me Solve This, we can't do that problem. We're going to be given another one after we work through it. So you might be asking, well, why use Help Me Solve This? Well, we use Help Me Solve This because it actually shows you the problem that you were first given can be solved this way, right? So you click Help Me Solve This. Again, it tells me how many parts, but this time, do you see? It kept the same problem that we started with, and it's going to show me how to solve that to the final answer. So it gives us the definitions. A parameter is this, a statistic is this, and choose the correct answer below. Now, so what Help Me Solve This also does is it walks you through step by step, but each step along the way, you have to answer a question, right? So every single step, you have to kind of like get through it and get the right answer, okay? Now, if we get this wrong, it's not going to stop helping us. It's just going to tell us that's the wrong answer. Okay, so to determine determine if the data set is a population. The data set of a sample of animals in a zoo is a population. A sample is not a population, right? So that's probably wrong. The data set of a sample of animals in a zoo is a sample. Okay, that's kind of good. The data set of all 843 animals in a zoo is a sample. Probably not true. The data set of all 843, right? So this one's right. And then it'll give you the right answer. Okay. The 8% would be like a subgroup of that. Okay, so most of these two sections, 1.1 and 1.2, are going to be testing you on definitions. And you don't really need to go into the book. You can just sort of work through it with help. And don't think that the course is mostly this. It's going to be a lot of calculation, and that's what we want to get to. Okay. So let me know if you encounter any issues with 1.1, but I don't think you will. It's just going to take a little bit. Okay. I'll show you what 1.2 looks like. Okay. Again, remember I'm in, because I accessed it through Access Pearson and Canvas, I can go back once I close stuff and still get to another assignment. If I was still in here when I just clicked on the assignment in Canvas, once I close this, there's nothing there, right? I'm not in Pearson anymore. So that's why Access Pearson is the way to go. So in assignments again, click assignments, 1.2. Okay, this tells me how many questions I have to do. It tells me when it's due. It tells me when I last worked on it, what my score is. what we want to look out for is help, right? So as we do this, whenever there's a help, that's going to make the problem a little easier to get through. This one doesn't have any, right? Get more help. It doesn't really have tech help is just Pearson's not working. That's not going to help us. StatCrunch is not help. The textbook is the only thing, right? So these are all definitions. So, if we were in 1.2 in the book, how would we find this? So you guys do have to do a little footwork. It's not all the time, but for the beginning of it, there is some footwork involved. So we're in the book, 1.2. We want to match definitions, right? So the first one's asking us to get back to it. Occurs when the effects of two or more explanatory variables are not separated. So boom, 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 boom. It's probably confounding variable, but let's see. Right, so we're in the book. We find some definitions. Okay, it's talking about cell phones and okay, here we go. Explanatory variable. Let's see, where's the definition of that? Designed experiment. I think that was one of them, right? So was one of these options designed experiment? Boom. All right, so we want to use this definition. A researcher randomly assigns the individual in the study to groups, intentionally manipulates the value of an explanatory variable, blah, 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 and then records the value. So what's the key words here? Manipulates the value of explanatory, controls the variables, and then records the value. Designed experiment. So let's see. Do we want to look for manipulated, controls? Okay, so it's right here, right? This has to be it. So we match this with designed experiment. And you just do the rest of the definitions like that. Confounding, here we go. Lurking variable is an explanatory variable that was not considered in the study, but that affects the value. Okay. Not considered in the study, affects the value, lurking. Not considered in the study, affects the value. Right here, this is lurking. Okay, so that's it. So even though this problem doesn't have help, just go to the textbook and you should be fine. So that's how you do most of these in this section. But like I said, a lot of this course, you won't be doing this. So don't get too comfortable thinking that or uncomfortable rather, that it's just definitions, matching words. No, okay? Because what we'll see in 1.3, finally, so that's 1.2. I'm not really doing much there, guys, because otherwise I'd just be like showing you here, read the book, right? And that's not what I want to do in these videos. I want to actually get hands-on with the math. 1.3. Okay, there are some definitions in this, so I warn you, but the second half of the questions aren't, and they're good. Okay. What is a frame? Boom, frame. I know some of you guys are going to guess. Try not to guess. Okay. Question 2. Define, so another definition. Pretty much definition. Okay. So this is where we can kind of begin doing stats, right? We haven't really done stats. We're just talking about definitions. Oh, sorry, my washing machine's getting angry. So I'm going to do my best to walk you through this problem, but notice if you didn't understand what I say here, you have two help options, right? Just remember, view an example doesn't reset it. So it'll show you how to do the problem. You can kind of match it with yours. It may or may not help. Help me solve this will reset the problem. So even if you get it right in the help me solve this, you have to do it over. So in this section, we learned something about a topic called random number tables. Okay. And let's see. Okay, these are the books. So notice this person has 9 books, and I'm sure some of you have read these. These are good books. The key thing here, you're like, well, how's this English? Why are we in an English course all of a sudden? We're not. They're just using real books, which is cool. The key thing is they've numbered each book. So what this means is Huckleberry Finn is the number 1. As I Lay Dying, number 2, and so on. Okay? So that's what we're asked. So as part of a college literature course, students must read 3 classic works of literature. Write a short description. So notice already we're like, what's going on? I'm confused. What's the statistical part here? So they're in a college course, literature. They have to read 3 classic works from a list. What is that list? It's right here. Let me click back. This is our list. So, okay, this problem makes more sense now. They have to read 3 of these books. Okay, they don't have to read all 9, right? So write a short description of the processes that can be used to generate a simple random sample. So this question is not asking, although it could say, what's every combination of 3 books you could read? It could ask us that, and we could do that, and we will at times get into that. But what it's asking is, and I don't know who would do this, because people, if you're like me, we don't really do things randomly, right? We're not like, let a computer pick random books and it spits out 3 different ones. But that's what this question is asking. It's saying, if you were in a situation where you were just randomly assigned 3 books, okay, what would that look like? And let's see. So, you know, what would make something random is kind of the question here. So we have 4 choices, okay? One option they suggest to make this a random process would be to number the books 1 through 9, like here, right? Number them 1 through 9. And then we don't know what a random number generator is, but it's basically a computer program or a table that we'll see in the next problem where we can generate random numbers. And then we pick 3 numbers, okay? So for instance, a computer could spit out number 4, 7, and 3 randomly in that order. That means we would be reading what? Number 4 is Pride and Prejudice. 7 is Crime and Punishment. 3 is Death of a Salesman. It's random because the computer, let's say a computer program or a calculator gave us these numbers. Okay. So what it's asking is that random? It's sort of um, an imperfect question, but what makes something random? We can try to make things random. So the emphasis basically in all these answers is it close to what should be random, right? Like if something just fell out of the sky randomly, that's random. If someone just tells you, hey, this is what you're reading, that's not really random, is it? So if we label them 1 through 9, because it's a random number generator, that's going to be random. This is tricky though. Look at the next question or option. List the names. So if we listed the names in alphabetical order and we took the first 3 on the list, is that random? Well, let's see what that would look like. What's the first one? It would be As I Lay Dying, right? So this As I Lay Dying, because with the letter A would go first. Do we have any B's? Nope. But we have A Tale of Two Cities, another A. So this would be second. Do we have B's? No. C's, yes. Crime and Punishment would be third. Is that random though? Think about it. Part of you probably says, well, I guess it's random, right? There's no real logic why things should be one title should be labeled this or that. So you can kind of get somewhere as making an argument. But remember, it has to actually try to be random. The process has to um, sort of be random. Okay. So I would say, and I think the program agrees that that's not random, right? So alphabetical order is still somewhat predetermined because it's already chosen by the titles, right? We would only be reading things that begin with A, B, or C. Um, Option C is ask someone their opinion on which 3 books are best and select those 3. Again, you could make a strong, maybe somewhat strong, moderate argument why that's random. But remember, is that really trying to be random? Asking someone, hey, what's your favorite 3 books, or which of these 3 out of the 9 are your favorites? Okay. That's not random because there's something predetermined, right? It's already been determined before you do this process. So that's not random. List each book on a separate piece of paper, place them in a hat, and pick 3. Now, in the modern age, we would look at that as sort of like old school, right? That, but think about that. It's still random, right? It's not predetermined. We can shake the hat with these pieces of paper. It's, is that predetermined when I pick blindly 1 book? No, right? So it's trying, right? You might not believe or agree that's perfectly random, but it's trying, okay? By the way, guys, I will occasionally get things wrong in this. It just happens. So will you, but don't be shocked, right? It does happen in these videos where I'm like going through it and I get a red. It's okay. It's okay. All right. The list of digits below form a number, are from a random number generator. Okay. So what's going on here? If you start on the left and take the first 3 numbers between 1 and 9, so this is a really good thing, right? And it makes sense. It's going to help us with the next few problems. So what are the key words? We're starting on the left, taking the first 3 numbers between 1 and 9. Okay, so what we start here, is that number 3 between 1 and 9? Yeah, so we keep it. We're going to keep 3, whatever 3 is. We go to the next one. It's 8. Is 8 between 1 and 9? Yes, we keep 8. The thing that happens though is we get a repeat here. We don't keep that because we already have it. So we skip that 3, go to the next number. 0. Now you might wrongly assume that we include 0, but the reason we don't is 0 has to be between 1 and 9, and 0 is not. So there is no book 0. There is no 0 between 1 and 9. So we skip that repeated 3. We skip the 0. We get our next number, which is 8. We already have 8. We skip it, right? Go to 1. We don't have 1 yet. 1's between 1 and 9. We keep it. Okay. And then we would say, well, what does 381 mean? That doesn't make any sense. These are books. Well, remember, we have a list. 3 is Death of a Salesman. 8 is The Jungle. 1 is Huckleberry Finn. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's sort of introduction to what we're going to see called a random number generator. Okay. So another example, and again, guys, I'm not trying to do your homework in these videos, but this is the best way that I believe works for stats. And when you see these buttons where it says click, you're going to want to click. Okay. Click it. Should we read what's going on? Students are entering a doctoral program in educational psychology and required to select 2 courses from the list provided as part of his or her own program. All right. Well, click the course list. I've taken some of these courses, believe it or not. If you're interested in EdPsych, let me know. But these are how many courses? 5. Okay, so are they taking all 5? No, they have to pick 2, right? It's probably an elective. These are probably optional. Again, I've taken some of these just in this situation. This is real world. Okay, list all possible course selections. Now that's interesting, right? So how would we do this one? Well, we have 636. I'll show you how I would do this one. 682. Okay. 615. Okay. All right. So what does that mean? Well, every single one that could be a combination of these 5 courses with one another, we were going to include. So the first one says 636, 678. Well, this is 636, 678. So that could be a 2-course combination. So we'd include that. So then you're probably like asking yourself, why is this even a question? Well, let's see. There should be some sort of anomaly here, right? 682, 672. That's these two. That's good. Okay. It's kind now you're gonna be like, this is a dumb problem. Watch this. 678, 670. Well, 678's one. There's no 670. This one's not possible. Okay, so that's all it's asking is which of these could occur, right? So you just go through them accordingly. What other ones stand out as anomalies? What do you notice about this one? 615, 615. Although the 615 is one of the five, we can't take the same course twice, right? That doesn't make sense. Okay, so you just do them all. Like notice 636, that one's good. 636 is good. Again, you can't repeat. This one's good. Okay, what's wrong with this one? How about that? Can't have three courses, right? So it's kind of like, okay, this is common sense. And then part B, what's the likelihood 678 and 615 being selected? Well, when you have the complete list, you would count up the total number of things, right? This is what likelihood is probability. So you'd count up the total number of things. Let's see, it's 5, choose 2. Don't ask me what this math means, but let's see, 5 factorial, 3 factorial, 2, 5 times 4. So it should be 10 things. There should be 10 correct answers. So this would be over 10. And how many of those had 678 and 615? Well, 678, 615. This one. All right, it's only one. So there's a 10% chance that you're in those two courses at once. Okay. Number of things divided by the total. Okay, so the final answer should be 10 that are checked. You might say, well, let me point something out. Because, right, and the question's even framed this way, they don't repeat answers, right? So you um can't have this one and this one. They're the same thing. So you won't see you won't see a checkbox for this and a checkbox for this. You're only going to see one, and it doesn't matter which one. Okay. So it'd be this one right here. That's that. Okay. So I hope that helps. I hope these videos help. If you do find them helpful, please let me know throughout the course. I love to hear that. But these next few problems are really why this video is going to hopefully help. Okay, so click to view the icon in the random number table. And by the way, guys, I might upload these to YouTube just to see if people use them there. So if you want them on YouTube, let me know. You know, it might be easier to watch too. Um, anyways, click the icon to view the random table. Community college employs 89 full-time faculty members. Okay, so there's 89 professors. The college wishes to obtain a simple sample that will consist of 9. Okay, numbers the faculty from 1 to 89. Now this is confusing. I've taught this course several times, and when they do random tables, people do them differently. So let me explain what's going on here, so it's very clear. I don't know if this has a video or not. Okay, notice this help. When I click get more help, there's my washing machine again. This one has a video, so you could try to watch it as well. It's going to be just like this, but just for this problem. Okay. So, um, first thing that's most important in this problem is because it's a physical thing, right? We have 89 professors. So how we think of that, it's not necessarily alphabetical. It's just every single professor gets a number. So someone's labeled number 1, someone's labeled number 7, but we label all 1 through 89 of them with numbers. Okay. Well, why are we doing this? Because we're trying to create something that's random, right? It's a random sample. So here's the thing, and this is the most important part. I don't know if the video in Pearson goes through this. Notice the first number is a single digit. The last number is double digit. Because it's capped at 2 digits, we're only looking at 2-digit numbers when we do this, okay? If this went up to 899, we would have 3 digits for every single person. So the person labeled number 1, how do we label 1 3 digits? It would be 0, 0, 1. Since we're in 2 digits, what would 1 be? They'd be labeled 0, 1. 2 would be 0, 2. So this is the most important thing, okay? If a number, when we're in this table, we pick a random number, if it's outside this range, let's say we pick 91, that's not between 1 and 89, we skip it, okay? Okay, so I'm going to walk through this probably twice, and hopefully this helps, okay? So what are the key facts? Well, we know we're looking at 2-digit numbers up to 89. So if a number is 90 or bigger, we don't include it. Okay, so that means we're not going to include 90, 91, 92, 93, and so on, up to 99. That's pretty much what it means. In all these problems, they're always going to tell you to start somewhere. So they tell us to start where? Row 3, column 6. Okay. So in the last class I taught, we would pick the first 2 numbers. So if you start here, that's telling us to start at 9, but we go 2 digits. So the first number would be 91. Is 91 between 1 and 89? No, so we don't include this. So we're starting here because that's where it tells us to start. It also tells us to proceed downward. So it would be intuitive to think, well, let's check the next 2, that'd be 0, 1. But it's telling us not to go to the right, but to go downward. So we go down from 91 to 17. And is 17 between 1 and 89? Yes. So that's our first number. But here's the bad thing. Since we're picking 9 people, we have to repeat this process 8 more times. We got 1. We got 17. Okay. All right. So 17's good. Now, just think about it this way. Let's say the next number below here was also 17. Would we include that? No, we already have 17, right? So 17 wouldn't be included. So then we go down. The actual process was we start at 91, don't include it. Go down to 17, yes. Go down to 61. Is 61 between 1 and 89? Yes, we include that. Okay, so we're just typing each one up as we get it. 17, 16, and we put commas. 60, comma 69. Go down. 98. 98's not between 1 and 89. No. Okay. So hopefully this helps. Okay. All right. And then you just keep going from there. And presumably what happens when we get down here, down to 98, where do we go next? That's the question. So we could look at their example. Let's see, how do they tell us? But what would be the obvious thing to do? Where would you go if you were down here? It's really, there's no perfect answer, but would you go this way or to the right? You probably go to the right, right? So do we go up to 52? Most likely, right? Let's see. Let's see what they do in the example. In the example, you know, their number table. So they started here just like we did. And they're picking between 90, 95. So they're not going to include that. They're going to go down here, include it, skip 96. What we're looking for is what do they do? What do they do right here? Do they go up to 9 or up to 79? Or do they go across? Let's see. Just so you know perfectly how to do this, okay? So they don't include 97. They go down to 93. Include that. Go down. So here's the answer, right? And this is what we expected somewhat. Let me clear my drawing. So yes, they go down here, down here. They don't include 96. Okay. They come up, so down, come up to 79. Okay. Is that, yeah, 36. Yeah, so they come up to 79. Okay, so it's a little strange because it's really how they choose to do it. In fact, I can tell you there could be cases when you wouldn't go all the way up. You just go to 61 and work your way up. But that's not what they want us to do. So clarify. You go, this one, no. This one, yes. This one, yes. This one, no. The next number is up here, yes. You go down like that, okay? Once they go down from here, they go up, but they start on this one and this one. So it's 72, 0, 3. And since those are between what they're looking for, they include those. Okay, so hopefully that makes some sense, okay? And that's really all you have to do is just pick those numbers. Okay. Go to the next one. And yeah, so let me do similar problem. I'm just going to put 1 and get this wrong. Don't do this. So I can get a new problem. So I can get a similar problem, similar question. Okay, what are we looking for? Okay, just break this down. This is 7,646 students. How many digits is that? That's going to be 4 digits. Okay, how high does it go up to? It goes up to 7,646. So once we get to 7,647 and anything higher, we don't include it. How do we write the number 1 in this? Well, it's 0, 0, 0, 1. How do we write the number 20? It's 0, 0, 20, right? Okay. How do we write 100? It would be 0, 1, 0, 0. Okay. Why 4 digits? Because the biggest number is 4 digits. That's why. All right. So we're going to go to our random number table. We're going to start somewhere. How do we know where to start? It tells us. Always will tell you. Okay. For this question, we're starting row 2, column 4. Row 2, that's this row. Column 4, that's that column. And then again, they tell us proceed downward. That's critical. So our first number is what? 2, 2, 0, 1, 4, right? 2, 0, 1, 4. Is that between 1 and 7,646? Yes. Do we include it? Yes. Okay, so we have our first number. How many do we need? We're picking 8 people, so we need 7 more. Remember, not every one will work. For instance, we go down to this, to 8, 8, 1, 1, 1. Don't think that we have to include it. We don't. And that's what makes this somewhat random. 8, 1, 1, 1. Is that between 1 and 7,646? No. So we don't include it. So it doesn't count. We still only have this one. We go down 5, 6, 0, 6. Include it? Absolutely. It fits, right? Go down 6176. That's this one. Go down 3284. Okay, that these are all included because they're between 1 and 7,646. Okay, but once we hit that bottom here, right? The last one we got was 3284. What do we do next? We go up where? To here, right? We go up to here. So the next number would be 7385, right? So that's 4 digits. Included. It's less than this. 9739. So we go down from there. Do we include that? No. 9739 is bigger than 7,646. Go down 0. This is a funky one. 0938. Do we include that? Just because it has a 0 doesn't mean we don't include it. In fact, which student is that? That's number 938. Okay, so the person that got 938, we have to put a 0 out because it's 4 digits. Okay, and then you do the problems. You do them this way. Okay. Another random number table. Boom, do it. This one is not funky, guys, but there is one that is. So this is just they label these people, okay, and they give us a random number table. So let me just do this one to help. I hope this helps. So it tells us what 4 members would be included. We want to pick 4 people. Where do we start? Start with the first column. So they always tell us like it has to be given. First column, first row. That's this 8. How many people were there? I think there was 25. 25. So what's the biggest it can be? It's 25. Okay, so 25, that's 2 digits. So we're picking 1 to 25, starting with this 8, right? 88. So really what we're doing is 88, include it? No. And it says work down. So we go down to 49. 49, is that between 1 and 25? No. Go down. 12, okay. 12, good. 35, no. 09, yes. 18, yes. We got 3. We need how many more? 1 more. 27, although that's close, it's bigger than 25. 37, bigger. 16. Oh, wait. I think I jumped. Why did I jump? We shouldn't jump to the next thing. We should have jumped 18 up here. Instead of going over here, I should have gone up here. I'm used to the old way. 18, we already have 18. 63, too big. 98, too big. 73, too big. 21, boom, we're done. So what did we get? We got 12, 09, 18, 21. 4 people, but who are they? It doesn't ask us what numbers did you pick according to this random table. Ask us who would that give you? Well, each number is associated with a member of this club. Number 12 is Lukens, okay? Hence why every single answer has Lukens here, except maybe this one. So Lukens is one of them. 09, Hayes, one of them. 18, Ramirez, one of them. And 21, Thompson. So we'd want the one that has Lukens, Hayes, Ramirez, Thompson. Lukens, Ramirez, Hayes, Thompson. This one. Okay, and that's how you do it. All right. Last one. Why I'm showing you so many of this one? Because this one's the first problem which introduces StatCrunch. So I want to show you, although we're not using it here. Whenever you see this button or a similar little button, when it says click, or sometimes it doesn't even say click, but if you see a data set and there's a button, you're going to want to click it, and that will automatically open it in StatCrunch. And StatCrunch is our best friend. Remember that. Okay. So click this. What's going on here? Now, this button right here is the button I'm talking about. When you see this, this opens it to StatCrunch. So click it. And in fact, we need to. So what's going on in this problem? Right? What's the deal? The deal is these are high schools in the city of Chicago. And if you know Chicago at all, it's a big city. These are just the names. They took every high school, it's probably real names of high schools, and they gave them a number. How many? How many schools are there? Well, let's look. It's quite extensive. There are, let's see, 180 schools. Okay. Okay. What's the key here? Each school has a name. In fact, you can't read these, so I suggest opening this a little bit so you can see the full names. You actually have to do this because some of the schools have the same name, but different like finishing parts of the name. Each school's name is given a number. Now, I would imagine this would be hard to follow without me doing this. So what's going on here is in this column, schools have numbers. In this, their names. In this, our program that we haven't really learned much about yet, StatCrunch, did some sort of random number generator, which it can do actually. And we asked it here to pick 5 different schools randomly. This was not predetermined, just randomly picked it. And these are the 5 random schools, right? 111, 64, 11, 119, 149. So all this problem's asking is what schools did you pick? That's it. So you really have to open this in StatCrunch and at least get some exposure to StatCrunch. So what is school 111? We can't just guess, right? We have to scroll down. That 111 tells us 111 was selected. That's world language. Okay, so world language, are you here? Boom, world language. Okay. The next school after 111 was 64. Let's see what school 64 is. 64 is Simeon. Simeon, you were selected. Okay. That's all this problem is. I know I'm reading it silly, but I have to emphasize the nature of this. 11, Instituto. Now there's probably a couple Institutos. This one's Instituto Lozano. Okay. So let's see if they, yeah. So that's that one. And we picked 5, so we have 2 more. 119, we might as well do them at the same time. 119 is Camelot XL, so that's one of them. And what was the other one? 149. 119, Camelot XL. 149, Foreman. So Camelot XL, Foreman, and that's how you do this problem. That's it. I do love to hear from you guys if you found this video to be helpful. It takes some time and effort to make these, so I love to hear that you're watching them and they benefit you. That's all I have for the first 3 sections. I will make another one for the rest of chapter 1. And if you get stuck or need help, just let me know. Thank you.